For Williams, the 2026 marathon began in the darkest and quietest corner of the paddock. The heavy psychological pressure of being the only team to entirely miss the Barcelona tests intensified the spotlight on James Vowles with every passing hour. While the rest of the grid logged thousands of kilometers, the silence from Grove brought the question, has Williams failed again? But just an hour ago, the characteristic blue light rising from the Grove factory changed the entire atmosphere of the paddock. Williams finally unveiled the launch colors and exterior aerodynamic architecture of the new generation FW48 in a first-look concept. This isn't just a car, it's the first concrete and loudest evidence of Williams' transition from an organizational crisis to a technical masterpiece. This machine, which will determine the fate of Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz in 2026, says, "I am here and more dangerous than ever," at first glance. Before we dive into our analysis, if you could subscribe to the channel to follow these fresh paddock leaks and Williams' resurrection story with me, you'd be providing fantastic support for us to grow together. Now let's begin to deconstruct the FW48's mesmerizing color palette and the engineering secrets lying beneath. The first striking element of the FW48 is the return of the legendary Heritage Blue in a deeper, matte, and more dignified form. But this isn't just an aesthetic choice. The true technical detail lies in the extensive exposed carbon areas hidden between the design lines. Meeting the 768 kilogram minimum weight limit in 2026 has become a total nightmare for teams due to complex hybrid systems and heavy batteries. Rather than weighing down the bodywork with paint, Williams engineers utilized the carbon fiber texture as a design element, fighting for every gram. According to leaks, Williams is using a new matte coating technology that saves exactly 800 grams in paint weight. The Komatsu logo occupies an authoritative space on the side, while Duracell's iconic copper-top design shines on the airbox. This livery is physical proof of the radical decisions Williams made for center of gravity optimization. Looking closely at the front of the FW48, we encounter the most refined Williams interpretation of the characteristic 2026 active wing. The nose design, unlike the bulbous design of Newey's AMR26, features a much thinner, sharper geometry focused on minimizing drag at all costs. The front wing elements are optimized to aggressively push air away from the wheels during transitions between X mode and Z mode. Technical leaks in the Reddit F1 community suggest that Williams has moved the front wing pylons further back to channel a higher volume of clean air to the floor. This not only reduces drag, but also makes front-end downforce more predictable. Nose structure aerodynamically explains why Williams spent more time in the wind tunnel than its rivals, and why they were so meticulous about hitting the track. Williams seems to have blended simple solutions from the past with modern CFD technology to control the complex 2026 frontal airflow. The midsection of the FW48 is an engineering masterpiece of how the 2026 Mercedes-AMG power unit has been packaged into the Williams chassis. James Vowles has successfully brought that famous Mercedes packaging discipline to Grove. The sidepod inlets are designed incredibly high and shallow, creating a much deeper undercut space than its rivals. This design ensures that air is channeled much more smoothly to the rear and the diffuser area within the narrower 2026 bodywork. To meet the Mercedes engine's critical thermal management needs, the louvers on the engine cover have been placed with millimetric precision. Early leaks claim Williams has completely altered the radiator angles internally to optimize weight distribution and boost cooling efficiency. This radiator placement narrows the side profile, increasing the quality of air reaching the rear wing. This is the work of an engineering vision competing with giants, not just a midfield team. Williams appears to have flawlessly married the Mercedes heart with Williams's aerodynamic soul. Moving to the rear of the FW48, we encounter an area where Williams places its greatest trust and secrets, the integration of the compact gearbox and suspension. Williams engineers know very well that the less the rear suspension arms obstruct airflow to the diffuser, the better they can maintain straight-line speed during those 2026 derating moments. While they rely on the Mercedes gearbox architecture, Williams has radically narrowed this structure to fit their own aero philosophy. Specifically, the distance between the suspension arms and the rear wing pylon is designed to minimize rear-end drag. This mechanical layout is vital for a driver like Carlos Sainz, who is extremely sensitive to rear-end stability. Williams seems to have worked with surgical precision at the rear to bend the air to their advantage and maximize the beam wing effect. The details on the rear wing end plates show how aggressively the car ejects dirty air, which will make it harder for rivals to follow. Williams missing the Barcelona tests went down in history as the paddock's biggest organizational fiasco. However, the level of detail on the FW48 unveiled today suggests this delay might have been a conscious choice rather than just an error. James Vowles gave a very clear message to the paddock. "We could have built a car just to hit the track, but we chose to wait to lay a competitive foundation." According to technical reports on motorsport.com, the real reason for that critical delay was the underfloor flexible aero parts failing durability tests against the high vertical loads of 2026. Williams took a massive risk by redesigning these parts down to the carbon fiber layers, and the FW48 standing before us today is the physical result of that risk. For Williams, this car isn't just a vehicle, it's a blue bullet fired to regain global trust in the team. If the car runs faultlessly in Bahrain, that quiet wait in Barcelona will be remembered as one of the smartest moves in history. Alex Albon and Carlos Sainz, perhaps one of the most exciting and hungry lineups on the 2026 grid, have finally reached their new office. Carlos Sainz's massive technical knowledge and telemetry reading ability from Ferrari will directly impact the FW48's in-season development rate. Combined with Albon's leadership experience at Williams, the FW48 is a prime candidate to be the paddock's most improved car. The confident and focused stance of both drivers at the launch proves that simulator data is far more promising than it seems. With the FW48, Williams aims not just to escape the midfield but to return among the established giants and fight for podiums with Sainz. Sainz saying the predictability of the rear end in this car surprised me. My adaptation after Ferrari looks to be quick might be the biggest news for Williams fans in the last decade. This driver pairing will be Williams' greatest secret weapon in finding the FW48's limits. The first images and official launch details of the Williams FW48 leaked today taught us one thing. A quiet but very deep engineering war has been fought behind the closed doors of the Grove factory. Missing Barcelona was a wound hard to erase in the team's history, but the aggressive aero details, the weight-saving matte finish, and the flawless packaging of the Mercedes engine on the FW48 suggest this wound could heal rapidly in Bahrain. Will James Vowles, we took a risk, but it was worth it, gamble payoff. Can Williams climb back to the top with Mercedes power in the complex 2026 energy management and hierarchy war? Do you think this new livery and the FW48's technical architecture are enough to bring Williams back to the podium? Or will the Grove squad face a harsh reality in Bahrain? Because when you look closer, this car doesn't feel like a simple evolution, it feels like a complete reset in philosophy. Every surface, every millimeter of packaging, and every gram saved tells the same story. This team is no longer thinking about survival, but about fighting at the front again. From the underfloor to the suspension geometry, from cooling efficiency to aero cleanliness, the FW48 looks like a machine built with long-term ambition rather than short-term compromise. Let's discuss this first look launch and all the leaked technical details in the comments. I will personally review every comment and technical insight. Your technical perspective is a true compass for us, and every small detail you notice helps us understand the bigger picture of this constantly evolving grid. As the F1 Perspective family, we will continue to bring you the hottest paddock updates and freshest leaks instantly, breaking down the technology in the simplest and clearest way possible. See you in our next analysis. Until then, I wish you safe, stable, and fast exits from the pit at all times.